Most Pokemon TCG players want to improve, but few know how to do that. Let's fix that. In today's video, we're going to be covering a goal setting system for you personally to get better at Pokemon TCG. We're going to be covering why setting goals is so important, go over whether you need to determine a short-term or a long-term goal, how to properly test, and also how to get mental consistency. That way you can succeed at your upcoming Pokemon TCG tournament, or maybe even you just want to succeed in learning how to play the game better. I'm PJ, and this is How Not to Suck TCG. How often has it been where you're just grinding the PTCG live ladder and you're playing games just to see which deck that you actually like with no rhyme or reason, just trying to figure out how the decks actually work? I've been there, I've done it too. So listen to my wisdom on how to learn where your focus needs to be. Now, if you're playing a deck and you're not really winning against a certain matchup, that is one variable that we can test for and we can use as a tool. We want to figure out where our weaknesses are as well as our strengths and build off of that. Now, if you're trying to play a deck like Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX and you can't figure out where to push the damage counters to with your Monkey Dory, or maybe you're just trying to play a Mega Lucario EX deck and you don't know which attachment that you need or what your board state is, that is a goal that you can set for yourself. Now, again, we're going to be going over where short-term goals and long-term goals play into this and some other tools that we can use. So let's hop over and take a look at our next step. Now, goals can be motivating through slumps or if you're, again, trying to learn how to play the game competitively. But really what we want to do here is we want to determine whether it's a short-term goal or a long-term goal. Now, what I mean by that is a short-term goal would be something like, I want to win my upcoming league challenge, or maybe I want to win my upcoming regional. Now, those are two very different goals, and obviously you do have to have the skill set to win a regional, but having a challenge is a short-term goal. Generally, a local card store has a challenge once per month, and where a regional might not come along to somebody that's not fully competitive already, maybe once every 3 months to maybe once a year. So those are a long-term goal. Do you want to just set up for success to learn how to play a deck? That is another long-term goal. If you are trying to learn how to play the game better, misplay less, maybe even get better at counting your prize cards or searching for what prize cards are missing, that is a short-term goal that we can set for ourselves. Now, we do have a couple of short-term goals that we want to keep in mind here. Again, if you're new to the game, you want to make sure that you are checking your prizes, you want to make sure that you're sequencing correctly, and you want to make sure that you understand the lines into different decks. Now, you could just say, I want to play in an online tournament and see if I do well. That is another short-term goal that you can achieve. Now, when we get to those longer-term goals, I want to qualify for the World Championships. I want to go and get cash at a regional event. That takes time to lead up to. Those are longer goals that take you more time and practice. Remember, the brain is a muscle, and we have to use it and build it so we can get that muscle memory so we can compete later on. So for you personally, what I want you to do is right now, get a piece of paper somewhere, and I want you to write down a short-term goal for yourself and a long-term goal for yourself. Do you want to go to a regional? Do you want to win a regional? Write that down. Do you want to learn how to play Dragapult EX? That's a short-term goal. We can learn that here on this channel. We can teach you how to do that. Leave a comment down below on what deck you really want to learn how to play from start to finish. Now, let's hop into the next part of this video, which is going to be practicing your skills. I did want to take a second and remind you that if you're enjoying these videos here, please make sure that you're going over and checking out my sponsor and team, Unplugged Games. They have a plethora of TCGs, including Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and so much more. They even have board games on the site, so you're going to want to hop over to their site right now, tell them PJ sent you, and check them out. that's enough sponsorship talk from me right now. Let's get back to that video. When we're thinking about tracking our skills, what I really mean is knowing what you're looking for in your testing. Now, if you're taking a deck and you know that you want to build that deck optimally and make sure that it has the most consistent numbers, write down on a piece of paper or on an Excel or Google Sheet online how many times you mulligan, how many times you're short specific cards, and then also mark your matchups. There's so many tools online. I know we have Trainer Hill for some data on matchup spreads. You can use your own sheets and build them to your own liking and see exactly where your matchup spread lands. Now, if you're having a problem with getting your Pokemon out and you're having a problem drawing cards, whether it's early in the game or late in the game, maybe you need to change up the consistency of your deck with the supporter cards or the item cards that you need to get set up. If your deck doesn't set up all on its own and doesn't draw a bunch of cards, you're definitely going to need a draw engine. But if it also doesn't output enough power into a lot of other decks in the meta that are super popular, that's another problem. And again, if you're tracking these goals, you can set expectations for yourself in whichever tournament setting that you're going to be in next, and you can even know how other decks play because you're playing it from both sides if you're able to test it on a tool like tcgmasters.net. You get to see the deck from either side. I personally use a training method called goldfishing. Now, goldfishing means that you're taking two decks yourself. Now, they can be regular cards or proxy cards, it doesn't matter, and play against yourself. You get to physically hang on to the cards. You get to see when you're shuffling what the worst case scenario or best case scenario for either deck is, and you actually start to learn the deck from the other side, which matchups you're playing into and what they're looking for. This can definitely help you hone in on which skills you weren't even thinking about beforehand, and that way you can polish yourself and you're ready mentally to go into the next event that you have coming up. And I want to spend a little time talking about the mental load that this can take, because playing Pokemon is fun at its core, but there's a lot that goes into it mentally because you're learning a new skill or you're trying to hone your skill and polish it as much as possible. So let's talk a little bit about the mental side of playing competitive Pokemon TCG. Now, even the best players in the world have off tournaments, right? We aren't perfect. Nobody is winning every single regional that they play in. Henry Chow, you're the exception. But also, as far as it goes, even Henry Chow, one of the best players currently in modern day, has bad tournaments, right? Azul GG has bad tournaments. These top players that you look up to, they have bad tournaments. And you could just be having a string of bad tournaments and be in a slump. Now, mentally, you cannot beat yourself up. If you're trying to get better at the game and playing more and preparing more, it is a mental load that you have to get off your shoulders if you don't perform, right? If you're sitting there and testing games over and over again and you just can't find the win condition, or if you go to an event and you're stressed out because you haven't slept the night before, that is something that you can control. Now, you can't control the variance of your deck. There's no way to control that, but you can control how you mentally set yourself up to play competitive card games. Now, if you're going to bed at a decent time and you're getting proper food and proper hydration, and you've already set the stress of finding a deck off to the side, you're going to go into a tournament, specifically a regional or an international championship, so much more mentally clear to find out what you need to do on that day-to-day basis. But if you're stressing yourself out the whole week up, I don't have time, I can't commit to a deck, I'm just going to play whichever, you can't be mad at yourself for not doing well because you didn't take the time to prepare. But also, taking the time to prepare shouldn't feel like it's stressing you out. If it is, maybe you need to take a break. There is a real thing in burnout mentally for a lot of the top players and a lot of the not so top players. You can mentally burn out from just trying too hard. So when we're writing down these skills that I'm talking about in this video, you do want to set aside time each day for them. And then when you're done with these tasks, take a break. Take a break from Pokemon TCG, set it down. I know I've had a problem with that. I just want to grind games over and over again and don't stop. And then I become anxious and stressed, and that creates a bad experience. It doesn't make Pokemon fun anymore. It doesn't make the experience of the game. Don't be toxic to yourself. Just take a little bit of that stress off. That leads me into our final point here in this video, where you're going to set a community goal for yourself, where you're going to test with other people. You're going to go to locals and you're going to play with other people. You're going to get feedback from other people. That way you can have other people test matchups and tell you how they're supposed to go. This gives you a little bit of a mental break. Now, knowing where your short-term goals are and your long-term goals are, and then voicing that to other people, whether it's, again, your locals, people on a Discord group chat, maybe you've got another kind of group chat that you use to learn how to play with other people, that's going to help you set those community goals. Do you want to get a testing group? Do you want to just find that one friend, a testing partner that you can go back and forth on matchups? Do you want to join any kind of community and learn how matchups are supposed to work? Those are forums for you to use. There's so many to your disposal that you can join. There's Reddit, there's Discord, there's Facebook groups, there's all kinds of things and tools that you can use to have a sounding board for Pokemon TCG in the competitive light. So I want you to try to find some way of interacting with the community and help set these goals. Now, to recap, what I want you to do as your homework, again, is I want you to go ahead and define your goals, then structure your practice around your goals, and then maintain the mindset to go in and compete at your next event. If you can do these three things, you're definitely going to not suck at your next event, and hopefully you learned something from this video. Maybe you got a good takeaway. Maybe you wrote something down that you can practice yourself and set that personal goal. Now, if you came up with some other goal that I didn't cover in this video, or you really like one of those personal goals for yourself, let me know down in the comments and we can talk about it together, and we can talk about it as a community here. I love to hear some feedback on these videos. They've been doing really well, so thank you so much. And if you can, give a like on this video, share it with a friend, and subscribe to the channel if you like the content that you're seeing here. That way you always get updated on the newest content that we post. We're going to be posting more deck guides. We're going to be posting more meta analysis. So much to come on How Not to Suck TCG. I'm PJ, signing off here on this video, but we will definitely catch you next time on How Not to Suck.